up this morning with heaven on my mind. I woke up this morning with heaven on my mind. Lord, I dreamed of a train, a glory-bound train. And I just wondered if my children will be on that train. Lord, I wonder if my children will be on that train. I wonder if my children will be on that train. It's a gospel train, and it's running through our land. And I just wondered if my children will be on that train. Have they got King Jesus on their mind? Have they got King Jesus on their mind? What if death came a-creeping into their room? Lord, I wonder if my children will be on that train. I hope that everyone will continue to pray just shortly to bring this service to a close. There's been enough preaching here to save the whole world if men and women would just really take heed to it and consider the whole matter. The pretty thing that I always think about is whether or not that a man or a woman has ever really considered Jesus is that Jesus considered you. And that's why that he came down here and he set this way up. There's so many things in my mind that it went through my mind this morning, that so many different places that you could have been today, it being a holiday. Everybody's got the day off just about, and it's a fun, leisurely time. And yet we have a memorial meeting, Brother Chad, every 4th of July. And it pleases me to see the people that's come out, that all the places that you could have been, and all the duties and responsibilities, Wayne, that you have in life, and yet you're sitting here, and that pleases me very much. And you know, my mind has been going back through that. This has been going on for 51 years, back beyond my ability to remember anything, Brother Joey, and it's been going on a long time, Brother Johnny, even before you knew about it. It was going on that Mama would set this up, and she would have this little memorial meeting, and she would always set it for the 4th of July because she knew that her kids that had moved off and moved up into Michigan and to Indiana or to North Carolina, Dad, that she knew that they would get vacation time right about this time of the year, and she would have it set up for the Philip so that her children could come back and she would have church for them. And that's something that we all need to think about. That listen, there's many people here today that's got their own churches to go to on Sunday, and there's many here that maybe don't go anyplace else to church, Brother Mike. But you know what? You found time to come out to this little memorial service, and that's what it is today. And my mind, Sister Lisa started going back and thinking about when I was just a young boy. Some of my earliest memories, Audrey was coming down for the 4th of July meeting down here, and I remember so many long-winded preachers getting into the stand that was up in the head of Cabin 4, and I thought they'd preach all day long, Clyde. And listen, us kids running around with church clothes on. We weren't allowed to play in the creek that morning until after church, and that's what we was waiting on. And I remember all the food that everybody would begin to bring in, and I can remember the whole head of that holler being blocked with cars, and I always wondered about that, Brother Earl, that if somebody up in the front needed out, we'd have to move through 20 or 30 cars, it seemed like. And all the things that was troublesome. Back then we didn't have air conditioning. Listen, us kids used to go up into that little stand that was built right outside of that little graveyard. And listen, and we would play there all evening long. We would play games up in that stand and listen and do this and that. But you know, all the troubles that came with it, it didn't seem to bother Mama very much, Dad. She still wanted to do it. And even as her children got older, and they had children of their own, and then they had grandchildren of their own, and they couldn't make it down anymore because life is so hard sometimes. Life is moving on. Look at it. Look at us, Brother Joey. We've got children that's grown now. I've even got my own grandchild now. And time is swiftly moving on. But yet, for some reason and some way, we've made time today to come here to remember all of them that's gone before us, Brother Earl. We don't know who might be the next one to come, but I want you to understand something. Even if it's my name that's read off, if this memorial service should keep going, Dad, it's going to be all right. And you know what? Even if this memorial service we don't have anymore for one reason or another, I'm glad that my name's made another list. Brother Chad, I'm glad that my name is already enrolled in another list of names. Listen, and one of these days that name is going to be called. Lord, I remember when I was a young boy and I was playing around the hillside. I listened on the 4th of July up in the head of Cabin 4, and I remember something I listened begin to stick in my mind. I couldn't tell you any great sermons that was ever preached up there, but I do remember one preacher standing as he began to close it out. You could hear the sound of them all through the holler. It seemed like it would echo from one hill to the other. I remember a preacher getting up and he said, listen, I've been praying that my children that they left behind, that when listen, that when the end of time comes, I pray that my children won't be crying for the rocks and the mountains to fall on them. listen to me as I've come here today. I've worried all morning, Ronnie, what was I going to preach and what was I going to be able to say? But listen, I want you all to know, God Almighty, He knows what every man and woman needs here today. But I wondered all morning long, what could I say? Listen, maybe to catch your attention a little bit. One writer began to write in a little book, and his name was called James. Listen, and he began to write, and he said like this, that listen, faith without works is dead being alone, Brother Joey. I want you to know here today that if you don't have good words, I worry about you today. Listen, are you saying then that my works will save me? No, you can go all the days of your life to church. Listen, and you can die and go down to hell, Brother Philip. But I want you to know, where would we be today if somebody in our lives didn't have some kind of good words, brother? And I'll tell you one thing here, brother, and I don't know where I would be today if I had to see my mama's working, while to get their children in church somewhere. I don't know where I'd be today if Mom didn't drag us children out of bed early in the morning on Sunday and tell us to get ready, we're going to church. Lord, I remember as a young teenage boy, Ronnie, living up just north of Detroit. You know what? The winters was cold up there, Brother Mike. Sometimes the snow it would get to be a couple feet deep, brother, and it'd be cold in the middle of winter. But I remember being woke up early Sunday morning and Mom saying, hurry up, you've got to get out and milk the cow. We're going a long way to church this morning. It would be about 60 or 80 or 100 miles away. There was different churches, different directions. Lord, I can remember the time I would murmur and I would mumble all the way out to the barn, freezing to death, I thought. And I thought, well, it would serve Mom right if we died out here today. That's how cold it is. And I would go out there, me and my brother, and we began to milk the cow, and we began to feed the chickens, and we'd have to break the ice for them to drink. Oh, Lord, where in the world would I be today if somebody somewhere didn't have some good works? I got news for you. If your daddy was alive, I believe he'd be here today, Dad. I remember that so plainly. One 4th of July meeting on July the 3rd. Clyde's dad showed up for church the day before. Lord, he thought it was was the 4th of July, and he showed up for church a day early. Listen, but you know what? Everybody can laugh at that and say he must have been getting old. His mind must have been slipping. I got news for everybody. We all need that state of mind, brother. He may not could have kept everything straight, but he knew church was coming up, and he knew he didn't want to miss that one. Brother, where are our children today? If we're not doing something good in front of them, do you think the world's going to do that? I got news for you. The world's got its own agenda, brother Philip. It's dragging our children the wrong way today. Yes, Lord, but I'm telling you, we need to be up and about our Father. Listen, and you know what, Brother Chad, he was preaching earlier. Listen about all the troubles he's had, about a tree falling on his dad, and he laid in the hospital for months and months. They didn't think he was going to live. The doctor even said, I've never seen anybody with these kind of injuries that was alive. Lord, I don't know what may be coming my way as far as trouble. But I've got a promise that there's good news coming down the pike. I've got a promise. Listen, that if I'm found faithful in the end, I'm going to a land where there ain't going to be no more trouble. Yes, Lord, I even read of an old king one time, listen, that had a little servant that waited on him hand and foot. And this young man, no matter what happened, this young man would always say, God is so good to us, and that would make that king angry sometimes. Even when troubles would come, that young man would say, oh my God, King, he's so good to us. And the king would get a little bit angry at him, and he'd say, didn't you see the trouble that happened yesterday? And that young man would say, yeah, I know that, but it could have been so much worse. That's how good God is to his children. Lord, one day I went riding through the countryside. Listen, and a wolf jumped out. Listen, and began to attack them. And he grabbed the king by the hand, and he bit off one of his fingers. They rushed him back to the palace, Dad. Listen, his finger was gone, and he was bleeding all over everybody. When they got the bleeding stopped, that young servant said, God sure was good to us today. Lord, I made that king so mad. He had him put down in the prison. Listen, a little while later, Brother Joey, they went out, the king and a couple soldiers. They went riding through the countryside, and they were attacked by savages. And those savages, they killed everybody, but they kept the king alive. And they brought him in, and they began to say, we're going to sacrifice you to our God. It needs to be a perfect one. That's why we spared you. Yeah, Lord, they were going to gonna burn that old king to a stake. And somebody looked at his hand, and his finger had been cut off. And they stopped the sacrifice, and they said, you're not worthy to be sacrificed, our God. We see your finger is missing, and you're not whole, brother. The king, they released him then, and he went riding back to his palace. Yes, Lord. When he on his journey back, he began to think about that little servant, and he said, maybe there's something of what that young boy has been trying to tell me. And he went and got that boy out of the prison, and he said, you know what, if that wolf wouldn't have bit off my finger, I would have been a dead man today. They would have sacrificed me. Yes, Lord. That young man, he looked at that king. He said, I've been trying to tell you how good God is to his children. And that king then looked at him and said, well, what about you? You've been several months in prison. What do you do with that then? Oh, king, and I've been with you on that journey. They no doubt would have sacrificed me, but God knows where I needed to be. I'm telling you one thing, God knows where you're at, and He knows where you need to be. Lord, I'm telling all my children, get ready to leave this world. You know what? Life ain't fair. It's a far cry from being fair. You want to see unfair then? Look at that little boy right there. A little boy that when he was 5 years old, Wayne, I had to have a liver transplant. Listen, the whole time when he was down there, his mother was sickly. Yeah, Lord, everybody tried to get her to go to the doctor, and she would say, well, I gotta wait until my little boy gets back home, and then I'm gonna go and get my checkup. When she got him back home, Brother Randy, she was eaten up with cancer. Listen, I'm telling you, life ain't fair. The devil's making sure of that. Lord, and the old devil is using that to convince you that God ain't good, Brother Mike. But I've got news for you today. You want to see what goodness is all about. One of these days, you're going to get a little taste of that. When that last trumpet begins to blow, brother. Yes, Lord. We've heard many trumpets blow here in this world. We've heard the trumpets begin to blow to call the battle together, to call the armies for the battle. We've heard many trumpets blow that the race is getting ready to start. There's going to be a trumpet that's going to blow. And you know what? It's not going to get me ready for the battle. My battle already fought. It ain't getting me ready for the race, Brother Mike. My race will all be run and done. But it's going to be a trumpet. It's going to blow. And it's going to be for the victory, brother. Lord, I want my children in that day to be able to raise their hands and say, Lord, here I am, Lord. I'm ready to leave this world. world. You brothers go ahead and get into song. I want to say this. Listen, at the closing of another little memorial service, whose name is going to be on this list next year. Do you have a guarantee that your name ain't going to be there? And I'll be honest with you, if my name's on that, it'll be alright right now. Listen, because the next list that I hear them read off, if my name's called in the Lamb's Book of Life, brother, and when he opens that book and he begins to read my name, I'm going to be satisfied. Lord, as much as I love my mother and father, as much as I love my children, in that morning, I'm not going to be looking for them, Lisa. I'm not going to be looking for any of you. My eyes is going to be on one man, Brother Randy, and that's the man that gave me a crown. And one of these mornings, I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna spread my wings for flying. I'm gonna leave this world of sorrow, and I'm going home to live forever and forever. You know, when Brother Chad, he was preaching and he brought something up. Listen, and it shows how weak that I am. Brother Chad gave his hand to the church up there north of Detroit. Listen, in January one day, and he'd come and he'd already broken his collarbone skin. Listen, and he'd come and he'd give his hand to the church. And I remember thinking, Sister Barb, it's so cold out. The ice was about 10 inches thick. When Chad joined the church, listen, I remember Brother Nathan telling him, if you want to wait a couple months until spring comes, nobody will be hurt at you. Let that shoulder heal. Maybe it'll warm up. But I love the words that Brother Chad said back. He looked right at me and he said, I want to be baptized today, and make me feel good, Brother Randy. Listen, we get weak, we get down and out here, but one of these days you're going to hear me passing. You're going to hear news. You may read it in the newspaper. You may hear my name on the radio. Listen, when they read off that obituary list, Wayne. I want my loved ones. I want them to rest easy, Brother Mike. When you hear that I've left this world and that I'm dead and gone, don't you believe a word of that. I may be gone from here, but I'm going to be more alive than that morning. Lord, I'm going home, and I want everybody to come and go with me, Brother Joy. Go ahead and get your song. And while the brothers is singing, I want to say, Jesus, he opened the church doors over 2,000 years ago, or about 2,000 years ago, and they've been open ever since. But one of these mornings, one of these days, that door of mercy is going to be closed, and there's going to be people on the outside there, just like in the days of Noah. But I'm telling you, get ready to live again. Get ready what time you die here in this world. We we may have the opportunity to meet again. You know what, if we do, let's give God the glory and the honor. Listen, one of these days, it's going to be all over then. Where will you be in that morning? I may not be much here in this world, but I feel like I'm a child of the King. And these old brothers and these old sisters, these people that's wrapped in you can read little children's name on this list. You won't never say and you can find little children. Because that is one of the fruits of this world. Death is just as much a part of this life as being born. And I want you to understand that. While you've got breath, you've got opportunity, and you need to seek the Lord with everything that's in you. You'll still make your mistakes. I guarantee you, people will anger you. Problems will creep in. Little problems will come, or your spouse will let you down or argue with you. Your children will get you angry. That's a part of this world. Everything that causes you problem is one of the fruits of this world from the child. And I want you to know, hold on to Jesus. You'll be all right. There's something working down inside of you that makes you want to just keep coming back. What do you think that is? Sure ain't the devil trying to talk you into coming to church. That's the spirit of the Lord in you to do. And you need to keep following that. And when you wrestle with the world as much as you can wrestle when you're so tired of trying to do it all your way, just turn it all over to Him. Just surrender. That's what it takes, a surrendering of your will to do God's will. And you know what? Even after you reach that point, time goes on, you'll still wrestle with it. You'll still think, well, I'm going to do this. I know I should do that. But I'm going to go ahead and do this just a little bit. I hope I haven't hurt anybody's feelings. Could you imagine the entire generation of Babe and Johnny, if the entire generation of Troy and Crone was here, this church would even come close.